Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and click that bell icon so you never miss an episode.
Absolutely. We love having you all here.
Today, we're diving deep into a topic that's crucial for anyone interested in India's future. That's future UPSC aspirant students, and anyone curious about how technology is changing India.
That's right.
E-governance.
Big topic.
We've got a stack of insights from reports and articles all about how India is using technology to make governing this massive, diverse country more efficient and accessible for everyone.
It's really fascinating stuff.
All right, so we're talking e-governance, using tech to achieve the goals of governance, right? But what does that actually look like on the ground?
It's fascinating here how e-governance isn't just about websites and apps.
Okay.
It's about using technology to fundamentally change how the government interacts with citizens, businesses, and even its own employees. Think of it as a shift in mindset, not just a set of tools.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So instead of waiting in line at a government office for hours, you can now often do the same thing online from your phone. That's e-governance in action, right?
Exactly. That's a great example of the G2C model, government to citizen. But there's also G2G, government to government, where different departments can share information and work together more smoothly, and G2B.
Okay.
Government to business, streamlining things like taxes and permits. There's even G2E making things like applying for leave easier for government employees. It really does touch every aspect of how the government operates.
So e-governance is pretty broad. Do we have any clear definitions we can work with?
Well, the Second Administrative Reforms Commission defines it as using information and communication technology, ICT, to carry out the functions and achieve the goals of governance. And UNESCO sees it as using electronic means to make governing more efficient, speedy, and transparent.
So it's about using tech to make the government work better for everyone involved. But why is e-governance particularly important for a country like India?
That's where it gets really interesting. India faces unique challenges. Its sheer size and diversity make it incredibly complex to govern.
Right.
E-governance has the potential to address these challenges head-on.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. Give me some specifics. How does e-governance actually help?
Think about it. Providing basic services to over 1 billion people spread across diverse geographical terrain is a logistical nightmare. E-governance allows for faster and more convenient service delivery, which is crucial in this context.
So it's about reaching everyone regardless of location. What about issues like corruption, which we all know is a problem in India? Can e-governance make a difference there?
Absolutely. By making information more readily available and digitizing processes, e-governance reduces opportunities for corruption and increases accountability. Transparency is key here. When citizens have access to information, they're empowered to hold the government accountable.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Access to information is also about empowering citizens on a broader level, right? Not just to monitor the government, but to participate in the democratic process.
Exactly. Informed citizens are empowered citizens. And let's not forget about the positive impact e-governance can have on the economy. By simplifying processes and making it easier for businesses to interact with the government, e-governance can foster economic growth.
Okay, so we've got this overarching idea of e-governance and its potential benefits for India. But how does this actually play out in real life? Can we look at some concrete examples of how e-governance is being implemented across those different models, the GTC, GD, and G2E interactions?
Absolutely. India has been a pioneer in implementing e-governance solutions. Let's dive into some specific initiatives that illustrate how these models are making a difference on the ground.
Let's start with the GDC model, government to citizen. What are some standout examples of e-governance making citizens' lives easier?
One great example is the Bhumi project in Karnataka.
Yeah.
This project digitized land records, making it incredibly easy for farmers to access and manage their land information. No more dealing with mountains of paperwork or bureaucratic hurdles. They can now access their records online.
That's a huge shift, especially for farmers who rely so heavily on land ownership.
Absolutely. And then there's eMamta in Gujarat, a healthcare initiative that uses technology to track mother and child health. It ensures they receive proper care and vaccinations. This is a great example of using technology to provide crucial services to citizens, especially in areas where access to healthcare might be limited.
Those are some impactful examples.
Yeah.
What about G2G? How are different government departments using e-governance to collaborate more effectively?
A standout example is the e-Secretariat in Rajasthan. This initiative created a digital secretariat equipping officials with IT systems that help them with their day-to-day tasks and improve communication and coordination between departments.
So it's like streamlining the internal workings of the government, making the whole system more efficient.
Exactly. Another interesting example is in law enforcement. Police departments across India are adopting mobile and web-based apps to improve their efficiency and responsiveness. For instance, the Delhi police have an app called Himmat, which allows women to send SOS alerts and even audio-video feeds in case of an emergency.
That's incredible. It shows how e-governance can be applied to public safety as well. Now, what about G2B, government to business? How is e-governance making it easier for businesses to interact with the government?
One key area is procurement.
Right.
The Defense e-procurement portal, for example, has streamlined the process of defense procurement, making it more transparent and efficient. And then there's the Government e-marketplace, GM, an online platform where businesses can sell goods and services directly to government departments.
So it's about cutting down on red tape and making it easier for businesses to participate in government contracts, which can be a big boost for the economy.
Exactly. And finally, we have G2E government to employees. While it might not get as much attention, it's still a crucial part of e-governance. Things like online leave applications and access to salary records can save a lot of time and hassle for government employees.
It's easy to overlook the internal workings of the government, but making things easier for employees can definitely have a ripple effect on overall efficiency. So we've seen how e-governance is being implemented across these four models, but I'm guessing it's not all smooth sailing, right? There must be some challenges along the way.
You're absolutely right. While the potential of e-governance is immense, there are some significant challenges that need to be addressed. One of the biggest is the digital divide.
Oh, yeah.
A large portion of India's population, especially in rural areas, still lacks access to reliable internet connectivity.
That makes sense. Even with the best e-governance initiatives, they're not going to be very effective if people can't access them.
Exactly. And it's not just about internet access. Digital literacy is another major challenge. Many people, even if they have internet access, might not have the skills or knowledge to use e-governance platforms effectively.
So it's about bridging both the infrastructure gap and the knowledge gap.
Precisely. And then there are concerns about cost. Implementing and maintaining e-governance systems can be expensive, especially for a country like India with limited resources.
Right, and we can't forget about privacy and security. With so much sensitive information being handled online, there are legitimate concerns about data breaches and misuse.
Absolutely. Ensuring the privacy and security of citizen data is paramount in any e-governance initiative.
And then there's the human element. Resistance to change is a real thing, both within the government bureaucracy and among the general public. People might be accustomed to doing things a certain way, and adopting new technologies can be challenging.
That's a very important point. E-governance is not just about technology, it's also about people and processes. Overcoming resistance to change requires effective communication training and support.
So e-governance faces its share of hurdles. But I'm curious, amidst these challenges, are there any projects in India that stand out as shining examples of success? Ones that have really made a difference and can serve as models for future initiatives?
Absolutely. India has seen some truly remarkable success stories in the realm of e-governance. Let's delve into a few of those now.
Okay, I'm ready to be inspired. Tell me about some of these game-changing projects that have really made a difference.
One of the most celebrated e-governance initiatives in India is the Bhumi project we mentioned earlier. This project, launched in Karnataka, has completely transformed land record management. By digitizing land records and making them accessible online, Bhumi has empowered farmers, reduced corruption, and made land transactions much smoother.
That's a great example of how technology can have a real impact at the grassroots level. What are some other success stories that stand out?
Another fascinating project is Gyandut in Madhya Pradesh. This initiative uses a network of kiosks to provide internet access and government services to rural communities. It's a fantastic example of how e-governance can bridge the digital divide and bring the benefits of technology to those who need it most.
It's like bringing the government to the people's doorstep, literally. What other projects would you highlight as being particularly successful?
Lokvani in Uttar Pradesh is another success story. This project provides a single window for citizens to access a wide range of government services, from grievance redressal to land records. It's all about making government services more accessible and convenient for citizens.
These were all really inspiring examples of how e-governance is making a tangible difference in people's lives. And Kerala has been at the forefront of this movement, haven't they? What are some of the most notable achievements?
You're absolutely right. Kerala has been a pioneer in e-governance. One of their flagship projects is Friends Fast, Reliable, Instant, Efficient Network for the Disbursement of Services. This initiative allows citizens to pay taxes and various fees online, simplifying a process that used to be quite cumbersome.
It's amazing how these projects are leveraging technology to make everyday interactions with the government so much easier. But it's not just about state-level initiatives in it. The central government also has some major e-governance programs in place.
Absolutely. One of the most ambitious national-level programs is Digital India.
Yeah.
Launched in 2015, it aims to transform India into a digitally empowered society and knowledge economy.
That's a pretty ambitious goal. How does Digital India plan to achieve such a transformation?
Digital India is a multifaceted program with a wide range of initiatives covering everything from infrastructure development to digital literacy. One key aspect is the National E-Governance Plan, NEGP, which focuses on creating core infrastructure components like state data centers, statewide area networks, and common service centers.
So it's about laying the groundwork for a truly digital India. But it's not just about infrastructure, right? There's also a focus on specific services and applications that will directly benefit citizens.
You're right, and that's where eKranti comes in. This initiative focuses on transforming e-governance services by expanding the portfolio of mission mode projects, streamlining processes, and introducing new technologies like cloud computing and mobile platforms. It's all about taking e-governance to the next level.
These are all impressive initiatives with the potential to significantly impact India's future. But e-governance is an ongoing journey right now. What are some of the key recommendations for the future of e-governance in India? Where do we go from here?
That's a great question. Even with all the progress we've seen, there's always room for improvement and innovation in e-governance. One key recommendation is to develop a clear roadmap with milestones like the second ARC's vision of transforming citizen-government interaction to the e-governance mode by 2020.
That's a bold vision. What are some of the key steps that need to be taken to move towards that goal? What are the most crucial areas of focus moving forward?
A crucial aspect is business process reengineering.
Okay.
We need to rethink and redesign government processes to make them truly compatible with e-governance. It's not just about slapping a website on top of an existing process. It's about fundamentally changing how things are done.
So it's about taking a more holistic approach to integrating technology into governance rather than just adding it on as an afterthought.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of capacity building. We need to invest in training and awareness campaigns to address the digital divide and overcome resistance to change. It's about empowering both government employees and citizens to effectively use e-governance platforms.
It's like creating a culture of e-governance where it's not just something imposed from above, but something that everyone embraces and understands.
Exactly. And of course, we need to keep pushing the boundaries of technology. We need to develop robust technological solutions and a national e-governance framework that can adapt to the evolving needs of a digital society.
It's about staying ahead of the curve and constantly innovating. But technology is only part of the equation, right? How do we ensure that e-governance projects are actually successful and deliver the intended benefits? How do we measure their impact and hold them accountable?
That's where strong monitoring and evaluation systems come in. We need to track the progress of e-governance projects, identify challenges, and make adjustments as needed. It's about ensuring accountability and learning from both successes and failures.
It's like a continuous improvement cycle for e-governance, constantly refining and adapting to achieve the best possible outcomes. Are there any other aspects that are crucial for the future of e-governance in India? What are some of the other pieces of the puzzle that we need to consider?
Absolutely. Public-private partnerships, PPPs, are essential for leveraging expertise and resources. The private sector can bring valuable skills and innovation to the table, complementing the government's efforts.
It's about creating a collaborative ecosystem for e-governance,
Yeah,
bringing together the best of what both the public and private sectors have to offer.
exactly. And let's not forget about cybersecurity. As we rely more and more on digital systems, protecting critical information infrastructure becomes paramount. We need robust cybersecurity measures to safeguard sensitive data and ensure the integrity of e-governance platforms.
It's like building a fortress around our digital infrastructure, making sure it's secure and resilient against attacks. What about the legal framework? Does India have adequate laws and regulations in place to support e-governance? Is there a need for a legal framework that is specifically tailored to the digital age?
That's another important area. We need a clear legal framework for e-governance that provides clarity and direction. This framework should address issues like data privacy, digital signatures, and cybercrime. It's about creating a legal foundation that supports responsible and ethical innovation in the digital realm.
So it's about creating a legal foundation for the digital world, ensuring that our laws keep pace with technological advancements. And ultimately, all of this comes back to the goal of creating a better India for everyone, right?
Precisely. E-governance should be about empowering citizens, not marginalizing them. It's about creating a more inclusive and equitable society where everyone has the opportunity to benefit from the digital revolution.
That's a powerful vision. So we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive, from the definition of e-governance and its implementation across different models to the challenges it faces and the remarkable success stories that are emerging. It's clear that e-governance has the potential to truly transform India, but there's still work to be done to realize its full potential.
You've summed it up perfectly. E-governance is an ongoing journey, and it requires continuous effort, innovation, and a commitment to inclusivity. But the progress we've seen so far gives us plenty of reasons to be optimistic about the future.
It's been a fascinating journey so far, and I hope our listeners are as intrigued by this topic as I am. We'll continue our exploration of e-governance in part 2 of our deep dive, where we'll delve into some specific case studies and explore the latest trends in this exciting field.
I'm looking forward to it. See you in part 2.
Welcome back to the deep dive. In the last segment, we laid the groundwork exploring what e-governance is all about and how it's being implemented in India. Now let's roll up our sleeves and get into the nitty-gritty of how some of these e-governance projects have actually played out.
I'm all for getting into the details. I'm curious to see how these concepts we talked about translate into tangible change on the ground. Let's hear about some real-world examples of e-governance in action.
Excellent. So remember we talked about the Bhumi project in Karnataka?
It's considered a benchmark for land record digitization. What's really impressive is how it addressed some very real problems faced by farmers. Before Bhumi, accessing land records was a nightmare long. Queues, bureaucratic hurdles, and even the risk of corruption.
It sounds like a system ripe for exploitation, especially for farmers who depend on their land for their livelihood. I can see how that would create a lot of anxiety and uncertainty.
Absolutely. But Bhumi really changed the game.
How so?
By digitizing those records and making them available online, it empowered farmers with easy access to information about their land. It also made land transactions smoother and more transparent, reducing the scope for disputes and fraud.
So it's a great example of how technology can be used not just for efficiency, but for fairness and empowerment as well. It's about leveling the playing field.
Precisely. And the impact of Bhumi has been significant. It has reduced corruption, increased efficiency in land administration, and most importantly, empowered millions of farmers.
Okay, that's one powerful example. But e-governance isn't just about rural areas and agriculture, is it? What about initiatives that benefit urban populations? Are there any projects that have been particularly successful in that realm?
That's a great point. E-governance has a role to play in improving urban life as well. Let's talk about the MCA 21 project. This is a major initiative by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs that has completely transformed how businesses interact with the government.
So this falls under the G2B category, government to business. Tell me more about how it works and what impact it's had.
Well, MCA 21 provides a single platform for companies to file various documents, register for different services, and even pay fees online. It streamlined a process that used to be incredibly time-consuming and paper-intensive. Think of it as a one-stop shop for businesses interacting with the government.
That must be a huge relief for businesses, saving them time and resources that can be invested back into their operations.
Exactly, and it's not just about convenience. MCA 21 has also improved transparency and accountability in corporate governance. By making information readily available online, it's easier for stakeholders to track company activities and ensure compliance with regulations.
So it's a win-win situation, increased efficiency and transparency for businesses, and better oversight for the government. That's a pretty impressive outcome. Are there any initiatives that address the specific needs of particular groups, like women, for example?
Yes, absolutely. One such initiative is the Mahila Shakti Kendra, a program under the Ministry of Women and Child Development.
That's interesting. What does Mahila Shakti Kendra aim to achieve, and how does it use technology to do so?
This program leverages technology to empower women at the grassroots level. It establishes centers in rural areas equipped with computers and internet access to provide women with information about government schemes, skill development opportunities, and even digital literacy training.
So it's not just about providing information. It's about equipping women with the skills they need to access that information and use it to their advantage. It's about creating a more level playing field.
Precisely. Mahila Shakti Kendra recognizes that women often face unique challenges and aims to address those challenges through technology. It's about creating a more inclusive digital ecosystem where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
These are all incredibly inspiring examples. It's clear that e-governance is making a real difference in people's lives across India. But what about the future? What trends and innovations should we be keeping an eye on? What's next for e-governance in India?
That's an exciting area to consider. E-governance is constantly evolving, and there are some fascinating developments on the horizon. One major trend is the increasing use of mobile technology.
That makes perfect sense. Smartphones are becoming ubiquitous in India, even in rural areas. It seems like a natural progression to leverage that technology for e-governance initiatives.
Exactly. And this opens up a world of possibilities for e-governance. We're seeing a surge in mobile-first applications that deliver government services directly to citizens' phones.
So it's about making e-governance even more accessible and convenient. No need to even have a computer. You can access services from anywhere, anytime.
Precisely. Another exciting trend is the use of artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning.
Okay, now we're getting into some really cutting-edge stuff.
Yeah.
How are AI and machine learning being applied to e-governance? What are some of the potential benefits?
Well, AI-powered chatbots are being deployed to answer citizens' queries and provide information about government services. This can significantly reduce wait times and improve the overall user experience. It's like having a 247 virtual assistant for all your government-related needs.
It's like having a virtual government assistant at your fingertips. That's pretty amazing.
Exactly. And machine learning can be used to analyze data and identify patterns that can help governments improve service delivery and make better policy decisions. It's about using data to make e-governance even more effective and responsive to citizens' needs.
It sounds like these technologies have the potential to revolutionize how the government interacts with citizens and delivers services. Are there any other emerging technologies that are likely to play a significant role in the future of e-governance?
Absolutely. Blockchain technology is another area with immense potential for enhancing transparency and security in e-governance.
I've heard a lot about blockchain, but I'm not quite sure how it applies to governance. Can you explain how it works and what some of its potential applications are in this context?
Blockchain is essentially a decentralized and tamper-proof ledger that can be used to record and verify transactions. In the context of e-governance, it can be used to create secure and transparent systems for things like land records voting and even supply chain management.
So it's about building trust and accountability into government systems. If the data is secure and transparent, it's less susceptible to manipulation or corruption.
Precisely. Blockchain has the potential to revolutionize how we think about data security and transparency in governance.
These are some really exciting developments. It seems like the future of e-governance in India is full of potential. But with all these new technologies, it's important to keep in mind the ethical considerations right. We need to make sure that technology is used responsibly and doesn't create new problems while trying to solve old ones.
You're absolutely right. As we embrace these technological advancements, we need to be mindful of issues like data privacy, algorithmic bias, and the potential for exclusion. It's not enough to simply implement technology. We need to do so in a way that is ethical and equitable.
It's about ensuring that technology serves humanity and doesn't exacerbate existing inequalities. Technology should be a tool for empowerment, not a source of further division or disadvantage.
Precisely. E-governance should be about empowering citizens, not marginalizing them.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We spent the last two segments exploring the exciting world of e-governance in India, its potential, its impact, and the innovative ways it's being implemented. But as with any large-scale endeavor, there are bound to be challenges.
That's right. While we've seen some inspiring success stories, it's important to acknowledge the hurdles that stand in the way of realizing the full potential of e-governance in India. And perhaps the most significant of those hurdles is the digital divide.
We touched on this earlier, but I think it's worth diving a bit deeper. When we talk about the digital divide in India, what exactly do we mean?
It boils down to this. A significant portion of India's population, especially in rural areas and among marginalized communities, still lacks access to reliable and affordable internet connectivity. This lack of access can stem from various factors: inadequate infrastructure affordability issues, lack of awareness, or even geographical constraints.
So it's like having a highway with all these amazing e-governance services,
Yeah.
but a large portion of the population doesn't even have a car to get on the road.
Exactly. Without access, all those amazing e-governance initiatives we talked about become almost irrelevant to a significant portion of the population. Bridging this digital divide is not just a technological challenge, it's a social and economic imperative.
Absolutely. And even when access is available, there's the issue of digital literacy.
Hmm.
What good is access to the internet if people don't have the skills to use it effectively?
You're absolutely right. Digital literacy is another critical piece of the puzzle. We need to empower citizens with the skills and knowledge to navigate the digital world, access e-governance platforms, and utilize online services confidently.
So it's not just about providing access, it's about making sure people can actually use that access effectively. It's about providing training, raising awareness, and designing user-friendly interfaces that are accessible to everyone, regardless of their technical expertise.
Precisely. And as we expand access and enhance digital literacy, we also need to be incredibly mindful of cybersecurity. With more people and more sensitive data online, the risk of cyber attacks and data breaches increases exponentially.
It's like building a digital fortress, but forgetting to lock the doors. Or worse, leaving the blueprints out in the open.
Yeah.
Security is paramount, especially when we're dealing with sensitive citizen data.
Absolutely. Robust cybersecurity measures are essential for protecting that data and ensuring the integrity of e-governance platforms. This requires investments in technology training of personnel and continuous awareness campaigns to educate citizens about best practices.
So it's about creating a culture of cybersecurity where everyone understands the importance of protecting data and being vigilant against threats. It's a shared responsibility.
Exactly. Another challenge often overlooked is ensuring interoperability between different e-governance systems. Currently, many government departments operate in silos with their own separate systems and databases.
That doesn't sound very efficient. It's like trying to fit together puzzle pieces from different puzzles. No wonder things can get complicated.
That's a great way to put it. We need to move towards a more integrated approach where different systems can seamlessly communicate with each other. This requires standardization of data formats, protocols, and interfaces.
It's about creating a unified digital ecosystem for governance where information flows seamlessly and services are integrated for a smoother user experience.
Precisely. And of course, there's the perennial challenge of funding. Implementing and maintaining these sophisticated e-governance systems can be expensive, especially for a country like India with many competing development priorities.
It's a balancing act, isn't it? Allocating resources effectively and ensuring that e-governance projects are cost-effective and sustainable in the long run.
Absolutely. We need to explore innovative funding models such as public-private partnerships to leverage private sector expertise and resources.
It's about creating a collaborative approach to financing e-governance initiatives, bringing together the strengths of both the public and private sectors. But even with the best technology and funding in place, there's the human element to consider. I imagine resistance to change within the government bureaucracy can be a significant hurdle.
You're absolutely right. People are often resistant to change, especially when it comes to established ways of working. It can be like trying to steer a giant ship in a new direction. It takes time and effort to overcome inertia and get everyone on board.
So how do we overcome that resistance? What can be done to foster a more welcoming environment for these changes?
Changing mindsets, fostering a culture of innovation, and providing adequate training and support to government employees are crucial. It's about making sure everyone understands the benefits of e-governance, feels comfortable using the new systems, and has the skills to do so effectively.
It's about transforming not just technology, but also organizational culture. It's about bringing people along on this journey of digital transformation.
Exactly. E-governance is ultimately about people. It's about using technology to empower citizens, improve service delivery, and create a more responsive and accountable government.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into e-governance in India, exploring its potential, its impact, its challenges, and the incredible innovations driving its evolution. As we wrap up, what are some key takeaways you'd like our listeners to remember?
E-governance is not a magic bullet. It's not about simply throwing technology at problems. It's about using technology strategically and thoughtfully to address complex governance challenges and improve people's lives.
It's about leveraging technology to augment human capabilities and create a more efficient, effective, and equitable government. And while India has made significant strides in e-governance, the journey is far from over.
That's right. We need to continuously strive to bridge the digital divide, ensure cybersecurity, foster interoperability, and overcome resistance to change. It's an ongoing process that requires constant innovation, collaboration, and a steadfast commitment to inclusivity.
It's a call to action for all of us to be active participants in shaping India's digital future. E-governance has the power to transform India, and it's up to all of us citizens, government officials, technologists, and everyone in between to work together to make that vision a reality.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of e-governance in India. We hope this episode has provided you with valuable insights and sparked your interest in this transformative field.
And as always, we encourage you to continue exploring, learning, and engaging